were a corporate leader, what was the turning point that led you to prioritize your inner well being?
I kept ignoring I was tired. I kept ignoring I was tired. And then I ended up with heart problems. And then I ended up in the hospital bed. And then you're just out of commissions.
How did you transform your inner bully into your best friend?
You may be a bird, and the person who told you that was a fish. And they think that swimming fast is the best thing to do. And you're trying, but you're not keeping up. But you fly, girl. Let yourself fly. Don't be restricted by somebody else's measuring stick.
Today, I'm joined by Laura Jane Layton, a former stressed out corporate leader who found joy in life. Laura Jane's journey took her from out of control stress to serenity. With warmth and relatability, Laura Jane inspires women to transform their inner bully into their best friend. Specializing in positive self talk and self kindness, she guides others to prioritize their well being from the inside out. Enjoy this episode with Laura Jane Layton. Laura Jane Layton, what does the phrase, if the engine doesn't work, it doesn't matter how cool the car looks, mean to
Mm-hmm.
you?
To me, it means that we put so much effort on what we look and feel, we forget to take care of what's on the inside. And so I could wash my car and I could polish my car, but if I don't take care of the engine, the car doesn't work. It might be pretty in the driveway, it might be pretty with a for sale sign on it, but it doesn't function like we should. And so, really paying attention to how you're working on the inside for that optimum health and happiness.
I love that metaphor. Where to begin with working on the inside? If you see someone who looks like, if you see a car that's shiny and it's great and it has a for sale sign, but you find out that it's broken down, where do you start with fixing it?
I think I would have it towed to the shop because it's got to get there somehow. And then I would say, what is the most critical thing that is causing this car not to go? And let them tell me, through a checkup. So, for a personal thing, that would be self reflection. What is it today that really kept me from being at my best, moving forward, moving on, and paying attention, because that's how we check our own check engine light. Our car, if it's not going, well, maybe it doesn't even turn over, so you don't even get the light. But but those lights are for a reason, and the check oil, and it kind of helps guide you in how to take care of the car. And it comes with instructions. Don't you wish we had instructions when we came to this world? And we don't have this every 30,000 miles, have a checkup. Every 50,000 miles, do this. We just have this kind of blanket, do what you feel kind of thing. And if we really tune into our feelings, it will work.
What happens if you ignore that check engine light?
I'm going to tell you a quick story. When my oldest child turned 16, we got him just a used car from somebody. And a few months later, he was running errands. It was my, woohoo, I don't have to do this now. My kid can run errands. Um, his car died and it had thrown a rod. It was out of oil, completely out of oil. And I go, did you not get a check oil light? Oh, yeah, mom, but it kept going off. And it's like, we don't ignore them. Like, we probably will suppress a headache with aspirin so we can ignore it. But what's that real root cause? And that's where that self reflection is. What is that root cause? What is that warning? And what is that thing that may happen? So, the quick story is pay attention to those little things. Oh, my knee is not as strong as it was yesterday. It feels kind of goofy. Is it inflammation? Is it what? Paying attention to the crinks and the headaches and the pains and making sure we're looking for the cause. So many times we focus on just the symptom. And of course, first thing in the morning when I'm still a little bit groggy, that caffeine goes in because I'm worried about that symptom. Maybe I could have got a better night's sleep, maybe. But sometimes we do really focus on the symptom because that's what's going to keep us going. But if we don't step back and take care of the inside, then we'll just be that pretty car on the side of the road that doesn't go.
And what happens over time if we keep taking that aspirin or drinking that caffeine instead of looking at the root cause?
Then we blow the rod and we have major repairs in our bodies. And I was one. I kept ignoring I was tired. I kept ignoring I was tired. And and then I ended up with heart problems. And then I ended up in the hospital bed. And then you're just out of commissions. And so, had I gone and looked for more help instead of just worrying about I was tired, like I can fix that with lots of caffeine. I wasn't fixing the problem. And, long story short, it was sleep apnea that caused the heart problems that caused the others. So you can catch things early. It's when we wait that it compounds into more and more issues that need to be taken care of. And so, really tuning in, tuning in. How do I feel this morning? Why is it that I don't feel like I want to get out of bed yet? Is it because I'm just not mentally ready for the day, or did I not do enough recovery while I was sleeping? And I know I'm focusing a lot on sleep, but without it, we don't go. And nutrition's the next one. You got to fuel that car besides just giving it some rest. And so just really paying attention to all your parts. When is it that we need a rest? When is it that we need fuel? When is it that we need exercise and movement? Oh, my back hurts. Well, does that mean sit down and not move? No, that means stretch. That means like I can make it stop hurting by not moving, but what good is that doing for your body? And so it's sit back and stretch and give those muscles a relaxation. And that's where we start tuning into that engine to keep it going. So it's not just a pretty car.
You were a corporate leader. What was the turning point that led you to prioritize your inner well-being?
Probably for me, the hospital bed.
Mm.
It's like when I finally couldn't keep pushing, and it got to the point where I was lucky that my son worked at the same place I did because wasn't allowed to drive because I was high risk of fainting and passing out. And so my kid was driving me to and from the office. But these are little things, I kept pushing through. I probably, when that happened, should have, I'm working from home. That's what I need to do because I could have. But I like being with the people and I like doing those things. So when you ignore it just because you like it, work can make us feel so magical and so, I don't want to use the word productive, like you shine. You can go home and you go, I did a good job. But when we get home, we see more of the flaws. When my kids aren't perfect, oh, my spouse isn't perfect, oh, I'm not perfect. But I can go to the office and I can ignore all the imperfections. And I do that in quote marks because imperfection to me is just something that I think somebody else isn't going to like. Like, oh, I have a little dent in my car. Well, maybe I like it. It's not an imperfection because to me, I like it. So I was like really tuning into who you are and liking all about you. Even, oh, the check engine light. Because it might slow us down, but it's there because our bodies are amazing at healing themselves and it wants you to pay attention. So it's going to turn on and say, hey, your head's hurting. What's the problem? Oh, it must be stress. I must just need to wiggle a little bit and get the blood flowing and go for a short walk. There's signals of things that we can do. for all of our lives that our bodies naturally give us.
Yeah, it sounds like a disconnect from the mind and body. I think a lot of people are experiencing that and have experienced that when our body and mind are not having that relationship that we're meant to have because of various reasons. We can blame technology and other things. When that relationship between our mind and our body is nurtured, then we're able to work in harmony. The way that our cells work is peaceful. There was actually a study done at the University of California where they found people who kept a daily gratitude journal experienced less physical symptoms of illness and lower levels of stress hormones. And so it's like our thoughts don't just exist in our mind. They literally affect our entire being, and it's so incredible and fascinating because it's so easy to live in our heads and to stay there, but like you're saying, listening to your body and moving it when it wants to move can have profound effects on our well-being.
The more we allow it to teach us, we will learn and be good stewards of our body. Am I perfect at it? Heck no, I'm not perfect at it, but I know to pay more attention. Like, oh, something's going on. Let me check on that some more instead of ignoring it, instead of pushing it in the back. I call it my robot years where I went through life with turning off all emotions and all thought, all personal thought and just push through that mechanical. I got to be strong. I got to move forward. I got to get this done. And and that's kind of a lonely spot because you're not even with you. You've turned you off and you just feel mechanical. I can't explain it any other way. I don't really want to be that car. I want to know that my pistons are running smooth because they feel good, not because the driver said so.
How can busy individuals start prioritizing their inner well-being in simple ways?
Oh, I love that question. It is so important to start with the little things. In the corporate world, we call it low-hanging fruit. Those things that I can do now that are easy, that are going to make reward. Um, if I have a broken leg, that comes first. I need to be able to walk again. If I have a headache, I need to be able to function. So, what is it causing this? You know, I had experienced years of migraines. When they went away, I don't know. I just know they quit coming. So, like, what is the difference? I don't know. I do know that somehow they no longer exist in my life. And I'm happy for that. Uh, So maybe I paid attention to the right thing and turned it off. You know, I don't know. But I'm going to trust that my intuition knew what was causing it. And eventually I quit doing that thing. And so it's just like there was something I did. Now I don't. And be happy for it. And it's the same with how we reflect on our own little internal self is which one thing can I do today? You may be sick. You may be flat in bed. First thing in the morning, okay, what can I do for my personal well being today? Every day you can do something. It may not be that 3 hour jog or hike or extremely physical endurance thing because my body just wouldn't let me, but I can still give 100%. And every day is going to look different. And if I take it first thing in the morning and go, what can I do today? Or if I'm at a crossroads in the middle of the day and it's like, what can I do right now to choose health? And until you start making those baby choices, it's really hard to make the big choices. So start small. What can I do right now? Looking at your lunch, what one thing could I take off this plate that would give me more health? more gratitude. You know, we don't have to eat it all. That was just something our parents told us.
I love what you're saying about the headaches just going away one day. I feel like we will do things to address one physical symptom. And because of doing those things repeatedly or taking those baby steps, doing the simple things, whether it's, drinking more water or taking a short walk, and it actually has a domino effect. So it will help our back pain, but then also we'll notice that our skin condition or our headache or whatever else is going on also improves. And so it has when we do these little things for our well-being, it doesn't have to be overwhelming. You're actually targeting many things at the same time, and you don't even realize it or try to. Everything's working together.
Well, you know, and sometimes what we do for our symptoms seems backwards. You know, like if you have back pain, the best way to fix it is stomach muscles. It's not
Mhm.
back muscles, you know, and so sometimes it doesn't make a lot of sense. But experiencing tons and tons of lower back pain is usually I have too weak of abdominal muscles. And so, you know, how do we find that? And we can research on the internet. Thank goodness that we're in a time of life where information is so easy to get, but it also has turned off our intuition. And so, even though it exists out there, and maybe intuition's telling you to do it that way, still pay higher attention to your intuition.
How do we turn on our intuition? How can we get in touch with it more better?
That is a good question because I've asked a lot of people that because we all have a different way. But one person I recently spoke with said, start practicing it with little things. You know, will this next light be red or green when I get there? And go with the intuition. Yes. If it's wrong, okay, that wasn't the right feeling. You know, am I going to get a parking spot close to the where I'm going, or am I going to have to walk a far way? And choose at that moment what you feel, and that way you start learning to listen to your body. If you're wrong, great. That means that wasn't the right feeling. If you're right, great, but tune into what it was that made you feel that way. And then the intuition, you can start bringing it up more often because sometimes we don't know. But if we start little baby exercises, we'll get there.
Yes. Okay. One way that I love testing my intuition is if my phone goes off, like if it vibrates, before I look at it, I try to think, who is this? Who texted me? And sometimes my brain will want to think logically, someone that I was expecting to hear from, or maybe we spoke the day before. But that's why I like to test my intuition, because if I get a random name that I haven't heard from a while and I'm right, then it's like, yes, I'm in tune, I'm connected.
I love that one because our phones go off all day long. And, you know, this morning we had Amber Alert, like 4 o'clock in the morning. So, you know, they go off, but it is, what is it? And that is one great way of just, or even, you know, like randomly drop different colors on your desk and, um, well, what color will you pick up? We can do this. So it's fun. And do I always pay attention to my intuition? Nah. I turn it, I ignore it, and then I find out, dang it, I should have paid attention. So after you start doing it, you start realizing when it helps you.
One thing that you talk about is positive self-talk, which I absolutely love. It's life-changing from my experience. How did you transform your inner bully into your best friend?
One word at a time, one little tiny thing at a time. And the first thing I started with is stop saying sorry because to me, sorry was shameful. if you walk in and, oh, I did something bad, it automatically brought out the I did something bad feeling. It's like, I cannot feel bad just because I'm human. And so I started, instead of sorry I'm late, hey, thanks for getting started without me. Instead of sorry every time, I used to say sorry to the wall. You know, I'm walking down the hall, I bump into the hall, the wall, and it doesn't care. But I told it sorry anyway. So it was just baby steps. It probably took me 2 years to quit doing the shameful ones. I still use the word, but I don't use it in the shameful. And it's little things like instead of telling people good luck, I tell them, ah, you've done this before. You've got this. Why do we like I was at the doctor's office the other day and supposed to have a procedure and the lady says, "Well, good luck." And I looked at her and go, I'd much rather you say you're in good hands with that doctor. Yeah. Than good luck. I want to
Mm.
leave this up to luck. And so it was picking little teeny tiny words that I would hear other people say, because that's when it can kind of like, ooh, that feels, you can kind of feel it because it's different than your emotion. When you're listening to it in yourself, that emotion's already there and it's hard to pick out the word. But I would hear people use the word, oh, I just came by to say hi. And I go, you just came by to say hi? Really? Just that's all you came by for?
Mm.
And so it's like, why are we minimizing our effort? Do we do it because maybe they didn't want to see us? We thought, oh, maybe they don't want us to interrupt their day, so I'm just going to say hi. But it's like, hey, I came by to check on you. How are you? You know, how can you make it more I'm here for you than I'm shameful? Don't you feel like when you say, "Oh, I'm just here to pick up to pick up my dog," that might be just what you're there for, but that minimizes you.
Mhm. That
You
word
know, it's
just.
yes. It's like, why not? Hey, I'm here to get my dog, and how was your day? Add it to be more than minimizing who you are. And so that's was one little tiny thing as I heard things that kind of made me feel that doesn't sound rich and fulfilling. It sounds sheepish. So that's where I started picking up what to change. And we all have different words. I use the example that somebody who's been in an abusive relationship and every time they got um, in a bag of fight, the guy'd come back and she might have a black eye and he's like, I'm sorry, I love you so much. And you tell that person, hey, I love you. And they're automatically going to shut down. If you say it to a person who feels lovable, they're going to go, oh, thanks. But so even the most cherished word that should make everybody feel warm and fuzzy, like love, doesn't make everybody feel warm and fuzzy. So it's really what what makes you feel more than instead of less than. And find those words and start changing them. Find something to change them to.
They really do feel differently. And when you pay attention, the way things are said, you could be saying the same thing, but the way that it's said and the words that are chosen can feel completely differently.
And we have a lot of idioms and common responses that we use. How are you? Fine. Like, okay, I'm doing great today. How are you? I went to a thing once that says, don't ask people how they are because they have to then search. It's like, say something more like, isn't it a beautiful day today? Make them go say, what is beautiful about today instead of, how are you?
Mhm.
So focusing everybody else's mind on the positive kind of helps bring that positivity into the world. And it's like, what can make it feel good? What is beautiful about your day today, Jessica?
I love that. I love that so much. I just said that to someone else because I heard instead of saying how are you, say what's been the highlight of your day so far, which is the same thing that you just said.
Yeah.
It's great because it makes the other person start searching in their brain for positive things in their day. And now they're doing their own rampage, of positive moments and appreciation in their own mind, trying to pick out the best one, which, lifts their vibration. And yeah, it's beautiful.
I say this to my granddaughter who sometimes comes over after school, and I think I did the tail end of my kids. But instead of saying, "What'd you learn in school today?" Because you learn so much, your head just kind of goes, you like, I
Mhm.
don't know how to answer that question. So I say, "Did anything make you smile today?"
Oh,
And like, instead of all the stress that school brings on you, was there any highlight of your day that you would like to share? And just think of the difference if someone asked you that. How was your day at work? Or instead say, God, did anything at work make you smile today? What a
I need to write that.
difference our
Yeah.
reflection is.
I need to write that one down. What has made you smile today? If somebody is struggling with negative self-talk and they want to get rid of the words sorry, just, or even just thinking, there I use the word just, even thinking things about themselves like they're not good enough or they're not worthy or some type of imposter syndrome or that they can't do it. What advice would you have for them?
Know that where you are right now is where you're supposed to be. And every you're struggling, it's this is where I'm supposed to be. What is it that I'm learning or growing or experiencing from this situation? If I'm having an amazing day, it's what I'm supposed to be experiencing right now. And as if we can switch off that, we're always wanting to be different, you know. Oh, if only I had longer hair, or uh, if only I was 2 inches taller, or if only my dad hadn't died when I was so young, or only if, these things from external that you're letting hold us back. I don't care how tall I am. I'm just the right amount of tallness to learn all the lessons I've learned for being 5'8". Like, I learned all these. Maybe next life I can come back at a different height. But it's looking at what you've got and appreciating the lessons that you have grown from. I when I reflect at the things that made the biggest difference in my life, crap, they were the things that were the hardest to go through. The things that I don't know if I'd make it through to the other side. And had I stopped then, I wouldn't have progressed to where I am today. And to know that every moment in your life shapes a new you and allow that new you to shine. You don't have to be the same as yesterday. So many of us were told how to live, how to be, what to do. It's all scripted by somebody else. Take over the script. It's not your turn to write your story. And it's okay to let go of some of the expectations. I like to say, make your own measuring stick. Just because you were told being like X is the perfect way to be, you may be a bird, and the person who told you that was a fish. And they think that swimming fast is the best thing to do. And you're trying, but you're not keeping up. But you fly, girl. Let yourself fly. Don't be restricted by somebody else's measuring stick.
That's so good. Yeah, I mean, the bird and the fish example is perfect. And even the body, the height, because, someone might be 6 foot playing basketball and someone else is a shorter height playing soccer. If they couldn't try to beat each other.
I'm this height for a reason. And how many times have we pick apart the things that we're born with? Like,
Yeah.
oh crap, I hate this. I don't want to have this nose or this. I don't want to have these knees. But what am I learning from them right now?
hmm
What is it? Learning to go down the stairs holding the handrail.
hmm And a great practice I love to test myself on is, would you say that to someone you love? Would you say that to your mom or your best friend or your partner? if you wouldn't, then what, how dare you speak to yourself that way?
Because we're still looking at that other measuring stick. We think we're supposed to be something different until you make your own measuring stick. And until you put it right up to you and you measure everything about you, and that is your success. Who you are right now is beautiful. Are you going to, you're not going to be the same in 5 minutes because you just had 5 more minutes of experiences. Allow yourself to change and mold and grow. And it's okay. It's okay. I like to not say, oh, I'm sick today. So I'm experiencing a cold or I'm experiencing some stress or I am not stress. I'm experiencing at the moment. And so just that one little switch of kind of lets go of holding on to that thought of who we are. It's like, I was this until now. I'm going to do this for now. I want to experience being a redhead for now. I might change it to tomorrow, next week. I don't know. But right now, this is who I want to be. And know that you're experiencing it for now. And nothing is stuck in stone.
To that point, I used to be someone who was consistently late and who was indecisive. But that is something I've learned to do is to talk about it as if I'm not that way now. Because starting now, I don't have to be that way. I don't have to identify as those things or be or have those be a part of me. So it's something just like, you don't say that you're sick. You can say, my body is healing.
How much more powerful bodies are out there than what can heal themselves? And our bodies heal themselves. They're amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was gonna say, but we're the ones that make them sick. Then
Right.
it's not just us, though. Really, the environment, things have changed. We don't live in the same world that existed 150 years ago. So we have to eat and be different.
Mhm.
We get to. We don't have to do anything.
Yes, we get to. Yeah. Mhm.
And that's the other thing with small words. Switch it right there. When you hear yourself say it wrong, change it.
Catch it. Yeah.
Who cares? Who cares if you're like, oh, she's an idiot. She changed her mind. No, it doesn't matter. I'm learning to speak my truth. And when I hear it come out not true, I fix it.
Laura Jane Layton, this has been absolutely lovely. I have two closing questions for you. Before I ask them, where can the listeners go to find more from you?
I have two websites, LaraJaneLayton.com and the LaraJaneLaytonShow.com. You can go to either of those. I pretty much only hang out on LinkedIn for social media, but I do love, and you're not supposed to use but, and I do love.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh, sorry, that was funny. um, So yes, just I love my podcast. Every Monday I have a challenge episode. It's under 5 minutes long. It just challenges you with some of these words and switch ups. Something you can try this week and see if it helps you because it's not everybody's going to do the same thing. And it's try it, give it a shot. And then my other two episodes every week are guest interviews, just like this. And so it's fun. Um, just how can we help you be the best you can be?
That will be in the description, of course. And I highly recommend checking out Laura Jane Layton's podcast. My first question for you is what is your number one health tip? So that could be diet and nutrition, physical, emotional, spiritual, just the one piece of advice that you would like everyone to know.
Stress is probably the hardest thing on our health that exists. And we go through life thinking that stress is okay and we just keep doing it. But find a way to have some peace, at least 5 minutes a day, whether it's a meditation or just give yourself some peace. And all of the other stuff will come to you. It might be slow, it might not be as fast as you wanted, but until we can get rid of that stress in our lives, it it's just going to compound anything else. Yes, I love the glass of water in the morning. Yes, I love having, you know, apple cider vinegar, whatever. There's so many tips out there to help your physical body. But until I got my stress under control, I wasn't able to focus on my body. So for me, it was mind first.
My last question for you. You get to choose a number 1 through 100, and it correlates to a more personal question.
66.
Any importance behind that number?
Absolutely none.
All right.
That's what came in my mind.
Lucky number 66. What's the hardest truth you've ever had to accept?
That not everybody's going to like me. That is really tough to think somebody out there doesn't like me. Oh no. And I know that sounds so funny because there's nobody out there that's liked by everybody. But I want so much for the world to feel like they can be themselves. That when like that emotional piece, if I feel like someone doesn't like me, then how can I be myself? And it's when I need to breathe and go, I am the me I'm supposed to be. I am here to be this me. Well, like you want to be the best doctor in the world, you pick the best doctor in the world school. If you want to be the best lawyer in the world, you pick the best lawyer in the world school. If you want to be the best mechanic, you pick the best mechanic. It's pick your path and be okay with not going to the best doctor university because you want to be a tradesman. It's okay. Be who you are and be okay if someone doesn't like you. And that has been the biggest lesson for me to learn is not everybody's going to like me.
I think my favorite cliche on that note is it's better to be hated for who you are than loved for who you are not.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Because how do you, I mean, you would be miserable. You would be the one to be miserable being the person who you are not. And so be okay with not being liked.
Mhm. And here's another thing quickly. Everyone is our mirror. So when someone doesn't like you, there's something about you that they have in them that they don't like about themselves. And it's being
And
reflected
that's
back.
their problem, right?
Yes. Yeah.
If you
And
don't
also,
like it.
yeah. And if someone doesn't like you, that's also not your problem. That's their problem. So, yeah,
Yep.
but
But that was the hardest thing to
to accept,
realize that it's just going to be this way.
yeah,
Can't please everyone.
right. It is. It's it's a tough one. I think
So
we,
you got to please yourself.
yeah. Thank you so much, Laura Jane. This has been a pleasure. Thank you for coming on and sharing all of your experience and your knowledge and your positivity with us. And thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you for having me. It's been my pleasure.